Chiney Agumake, Brian Windhorst, Kendrick Perkins. Is that petty?
No, I'm saying I love it. No, it's real.
Okay. Well, if that was petty, I might just be looking at a hard truth here after what we saw last night. We had predicted that this would be the closest game that we had seen thus far in the series, and we were absolutely right in this one. Let's take you there right now. This is what went down in Target Center. Listen to what Chris Finch told his team to focus on again in this one that they did so well in that Game 3 beatdown.
Don't forget, the heart of what we were talking about before going into that game was take Holmgren out of the game. Take Williams out of the game.
Well, they struggled to do that. Early on, Minnesota not able to accomplish that. Look at this. Chet Holmgren with the block on Rudy Gobert. OKC comes the other way and then gives it up to Jalen Williams. It was one of 6 threes that he'd hit on the night, Shanae.
Look, it was J-Dub's day, and I think of the song, I'm a movement by myself, but we're a force when we're together. When they're together, they're 1-2 punch. They are hard to keep in front. SGA was cooking, but J-Dub, I love how aggressive he was as the number 2, but now looking like a number 1 in their hearts.
And that was one of the questions coming into this series. SGA right here attacking the basket, goes all the way to the cup for the finish. Gilgeous-Alexander Williams, they combined to score or assist on 51 points in the first half here, Perk. We go ahead to the fourth quarter. It was closer than we have seen in this series thus far, but this is when the Thunder Big Three would fully take over.
Absolutely, and shout out to Coach Dagnall for going small, putting Chet Holmgren at the 5. I called him out before the game and told him he needed to rise to the occasion, and he did just that.
And I love this cousin-on-cousin matchup here. Nickeil Alexander-Walker had a heck of a game, but right there, it's SGA who gets the better of him. And that brings us to today's play of the game, brought to you by Dave & Buster's. Gilgeous-Alexander, he drives here, he loses control, but then goes through the legs of McDaniels. I mean, I knew as soon as I saw SGA's eyes on this replay that this was going to be going in here.
Elite camera work by our crew.
Absolutely. Shout out the best crew in the game here, and that pass by SGA that somehow J-Dub had to make. And then again right here, he came up clutch when the Thunder needed him the most, Shanae.
Yeah, 6 threes, that was the separator, the three-point shot amongst star players. And what I love is that he was competing, he was doing it on both ends.
And OKC shooting so well off SGA's passes there. Here, McDaniels drives, and it's Chet's defense meets him at the rim.
God, what a play.
A huge block, one of 3 he had in this one. The Thunder Big Three. I know we talk about, oh, Big Threes are dead. Not in OKC. They scored 34 of the team's 38 points in the fourth quarter. The Thunder win a close one, 128-126. They are in the driver's seat with a 3-1 series lead. But on the flip side here, Brian, from Minnesota, their stars, they really struggled.
Yeah, look, they needed big games from their best 2 players, and you can debate about what happened with the shots because they made sure that they didn't get shots off, but the 10 turnovers between them, that was what was killer. Turnovers were a big part of this game.
Here's Anthony Edwards after the game on his performance.
They didn't really let me get too many shots off. They did a good job of that. Every time I had the ball, they showed me a major crowd, so just making the right play, getting off of it. And my guys hit shots tonight, so big shout out to them. I don't look at it like I struggled or he struggled. They had a good game plan, making us get off the ball. Especially for me, man, they was super in the gaps. I made the right play all night, so I don't really look at it like I struggled. I didn't get enough shots to say I struggled, so that might be how you guys look at it. But yeah, I didn't struggle at all. It's just I made the right play.
Do you agree with Dan's assessment there, Perk?
I do. It was, look, they scored 126 points. Right, they shot over 50% from the field, over 40% from the 3, and they made him make the pass to make the others beat him. Right, and look, we can't be mad at Anthony Edwards. Who did the Thunder play last series? Jokic. We all agree he's the best player in the world. That was the worst series of his career. The worst series of his career.
9 shots in Game 7.
Yeah. So, I mean, they just did an excellent job, and if you want to look at the tape, I got some tape here. You want to run the tape, run the footage. Here you go right here. Now, look, Luke Dortz, a linebacker, fighting through screens, staying connected. Chet Holmgren did a great job of hedging out. Now, he split it. Look, Alex Caruso, the unsung hero. Then all of a sudden, they hitting the floor, diving for the loose balls. Cason Wallace, he's starting up. He's touching Anthony Edwards up. Everybody's tied on the string. Look at Jalen Williams. He's ready to switch right now. He switches out. They have to go to the opposite side. Active hands. Anthony's over there. He's like, what the hell you want him to do?
Yeah, he's got 3 different guys in his face every single time.
I have to agree with Perk. I know that it wasn't the type of game that the Wolves and their fans wanted. He was double-teamed 100% of his drives. The Thunder came in with a game plan. Somebody else is going to beat us. It is not going to be Ant again, especially the way Ant came out in Game 3. Look at that, 91. I mean, what is he supposed to do? Do you want him shooting 1 into 3? Look, you can, the turnovers, absolutely, because turnovers are death. If you're going to complain about something, complain about Julius Randle. He's 1 of 7 with 5 turnovers in this game. Randle averaging 3 assists in this series when he averaged 7 last game. I think he played the correct way. It wasn't the ideal way. As Perk said, they scored 41 points in the fourth quarter. That is a brilliant quarter. It was not because of Ant. It was because of the turnovers and the offensive rebounds. That's why they lost.
The biggest difference from game 3 to game 4 was Ant's level of aggression. And I understand that double teams and traps and blitzes and having 100% of a help defender on a drive really hurts your ability to really be off, to go off, especially offensively. But when I think about it, we're all teammates here. If you have a teammate that is the best player on your team, that is at home in the Western Conference Finals, in the playoffs, that only shoots the ball twice and a half, to me, that's a failure on all parts. Because you need him to stay in attack mode. We saw what attack mode
What number would be right? Would 4 be correct? Would it be okay? Would 7? I mean,
Shea shot the ball how many times yesterday?
Yeah, but the difference between Shea and SGA is that
Shea and Ant, yeah.
Oh, excuse me. SGA
There's a difference between Shea and SGA sometimes, too. SGA raises his level.
My bad, SGA and Ant is that SGA, actually, his number 2 came to play. So that relieved pressure off of SGA and allow him to cook.
I know, but we heard the sound of Finch before the game saying our game plan is shut down Holmgren and Williams, and we know the game plan for the Thunder was shut down Shea. I don't think shut down Ant. I don't think you can compare the two of them. I think 2 totally different situations.
I think a lot of times in this NBA playoffs, you see coaches get locked into their game plan over 4 quarters, which is true, but sometimes you don't adjust in real time to really help your team and your players. Because the biggest issue is in the fourth quarter, Ant was 2 for 6. And I remember, I think he got 1 or 2 looks at 3, and like everyone in their seats were ready to erupt because it was almost a wide open look, but he didn't have the requisite aggression or rhythm. I remember after he missed a shot, he hit himself on the head. I was like, man, I really wanted to make that. That to me was the issue. You got to let
That's a very fair point by you, who is a player, but I will just say they scored 41 points on 50% shooting in the fourth quarter against one of the best defenses we've ever seen. It's very hard for me to find criticism when they score 128 points.
But when you're looking at the fact that Anthony Edwards and Julius Randle, we'll put him in here too, had 6 points in the fourth quarter, and when you look at SGA and just J-Dub, not even putting Chet into the equation, they had 25. That is where the criticism comes in.
41 points.
I have a tight question.
Scored 41
points. We're talking about in-game adjustments. I know saying playing him off ball helps, but sometimes when he does have the ball, you saw good things coming.
Game 3.
And if you're going to trap him, if you're going to trap him, well, maybe he brings it up, you isolate him so he can get downhill, get to the rim and feel a little bit more comfortable. Those were the issues that I had because I loved his unselfish nature. He was making the right play.
Everything that you're saying is right. But at one point in the third quarter of this game, the Thunder had 23 more shots than the Wolves. 23. It's unsurvivable. The fact that it was even close was amazing for the Wolves to even get it that far.
And it felt down the stretch like it really was. And then you look back, there was 0 lead changes. 0 lead changes in the fourth quarter because every single time the Thunder, or rather the Timberwolves would hit a big shot, which they did, the Thunder would come back and answer. We know SGA is the MVP, but last night, Jalen Williams, Chet Holmgren, to your point, they were huge.